Hello and welcome back. And in this video, we're going to be mastering ZStack in SwiftUI. So let's go ahead and get started. So in SwiftUI, ZStack is a container view that stacks its child views along the z-axis, meaning it's basically placing them on the top of each other in the order they are declared. The ZStack allows us to overlay multiple views and create a layered effect. The ZStack is basically used to arrange views that overlay its subviews, aligning them along the z-axis. And in ZStack, like each successive subview is assigned a higher z-axis value than the one preceding it. Okay, so consequently, the subviews appear on the top of each other, and the final result looks like a composite layer. Okay, so the size of ZStack is basically determined by the size of the largest child view, and other child views that are automatically already present there. They're automatically centered within the space occupied by the largest view, and we can use the alignment property basically to control how these child views that are smaller than the largest view are aligned in the ZStack. Let's go ahead and start with simple examples, and we're going to start by placing two views inside ZStack. Okay, so I'm going to leave this text right here, and but what we're going to do is we're going to put it inside a ZStack. Okay, now first thing we're going to do is we're going to draw this whole background from white to orange. So we're going to simply say color dot not black but orange. Okay, and now you can see basically we have the color shown up, but it's not taking over the entire available space, and we can fix that by adding ignore safe area, and that's gonna basically make it bleed through basically for both the safe areas, top and the bottom. Okay, next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna paste that code that we had, and notice that this code or this text view appears right in the center. Let's go ahead and make it big. Okay, so basically now you can see that our view is actually sitting on in the center. If we add another one, you're gonna notice that actually sits right on the top of the one that we've just created. So basically now you understand how ZStack basically lays out all the views on the top of each other. Now the color in this case, let me first remove this. Yeah, so the color in SwiftUI function is treated as a view by default it basically occupies as much space as there is available for the parent view. And in this particular example, what's going on is it's trying to cover the entire screen. That becomes our largest child view for this ZStack. Hence, it is actually taking over the entire space, so that becomes the main view, and we can align everything else basically all the child views, and the alignment is going to be applied only on the child view, but the largest view still remains because it's taking in the more space. Okay, now we can basically create some interesting views by layering other views on the top of each other. For example, what we can do is we can put an image here. Okay, let's use a system image of heart dot fill. Okay, and that system image is should appear here. Let's see, system name HEART. Okay, all right. Let's keep going, and it'll come up. Okay, let's make this resizable, and let's also put a frame here. I'm pretty sure I'm doing something wrong because our heart is not appearing. There we go, we have it now. So make it resizable, width as 300 and height as 300. Okay, so we have this cool looking heart here, and then what we have is we have our text sitting on top, but now we can't see the text because the text is basically of the same color as the color of the image. Let's go ahead and drop shadow. And maybe that'll make the text appear. Okay, let's try. Hey, there you go. All right, so shadow color basically is also like, sort of like grayish dark, and which is why text is not appearing. Now let's go back. I just want to quickly show you that text is there. What we can do is we can actually set the shadow as 2, and let's set the color for the shadow as well as red. Excuse me. Alright, so what should happen is basically there's a red shadow that should surround our text, basically make this text view pop out. Okay, let's increase the radius, and that'll actually make it a little bit more visible, but as you can see we cannot see it clearly. That's fine, like, I'm just trying to show you the effect of having ZStack, like, basically items placed on top of each other. But what else we can do is, like, we can apply the foreground style, and we can say, well, this guy is going to be white because we know, like, our image is going to have the black color, right? And as you can see, now everything is basically sort of appearing on the center. Okay, so now let's talk about the alignment. Now, since we know that the biggest view in this whole view in the ZStack is your color, so when we apply alignment, the alignment is going to be applied only on these two views because they are small. I mean, setting alignment on the largest view, which is defining the size, it's not going to make any effect on that view because it's already big enough to take over the entire space. Okay, so if we say, like, move or set the alignment as bottom, both of our views move at the bottom. Okay, and similar goes to if we say, like, move it at the top, and both of our views move at the top. Now, one thing to note is we are not applying the ignore safe area for the ZStack. We are applying it only for the color view. That means the other views are still gonna honor the safe area. Okay, so that's why this is not going, like, right under the notch. Okay, now this alignment property, it is animatable. Okay, so it is animatable. So basically what we can do is we can animate the changes that are appearing here. Well, I would actually highly encourage you to try it, but that actually sets up a context for our next example that we're going to create. Okay, now like, basically that ZStack is used to show things on the top of existing content. That means they become useful to show a view on the top of another view. Well, that's what pop-up views are. So we can create our own custom pop-up using simple ZStack. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this out in an example. So private var example 1 some view, and I'm going to move it out here so we can actually start typing some code here. So what we're going to do is we're going to create another one. So example 2 some view, and we're going to write our example here. So example 2, there we go. All right, so we're going to type out our example, and then, like, it'll be displayed here. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a pop-up view. Okay, so we're going to first create a state which is going to control the display of the pop-up. Show pop-up. We're going to set it to false initially because we don't want to start just displaying the pop-up right off the bat as soon as user lands on the screen. Okay, then we're going to create our ZStack. Once again, ZStack is going to have color.orange. Okay, and then we're going to have a VStack. Okay, this VStack is simply going to show some text. devtechie.com. If you haven't checked it out, check out devtechie.com. There's a lot of new content that's available there. Let's set the font as large title, and then we're going to have a button. This button is basically going to help us control essentially like what to show, or like when to show the pop-up. And we're gonna wrap this when to show pop-up thing inside with animation block that actually makes it animated. Okay, so we're gonna simply say show pop-up dot toggle. All right, for the label, what we're gonna do is we're gonna use the label view. Okay, and label view takes title and icon. Okay, so for the title, we are simply going to show a text, show message. Okay, and for the icon, we're going to simply have an image with system name quote.bubble. Okay, so we simply have like this quote.bubble, and let's go ahead and set the style, the button style for this guy, and we're gonna set that as bordered. Okay, so we're gonna have a bordered button right here. Okay, now what we're gonna do is our orange color is like like a lot prominent, so let's go ahead and give it an opacity, maybe 0.2, like make it a little bit less prominent. And we're gonna set we're gonna remove this foreground color here. That's better. Okay, and let's go ahead and set it to ignore safe area, so it actually covers the entire screen. There we go. All right, now what we're going to do is we want to basically do something with the pop-up. Right now, if we simply tap on it, nothing shows up. Even though we are actually changing the state of the pop-up, there's no action for the pop-up, or like there's no view for a pop-up. Okay, so let's go ahead and drop that view. So what we're going to do is we're going to, right after this ZStack, we're going to create an if statement. Okay, you can create if statements inside the view body property, and like wherever you're typing a view, which is actually how you can just show and hide different views. So we're going to say show pop-up, and we're going to have a ZStack. And inside the ZStack, we can have a text view, which is basically going to say something. Learning iOS development is a question. If you are, then visit devtechie.com. Okay. Oops. All right, that was a wrong key pressed at the wrong time. Okay, so we have like another text. Let's go ahead and set the foreground, not the foreground style. We want to set the foreground font color as large title. Okay, and then we're gonna have a button, which is simply going to say close, and the action is going to be show pop-up dot toggle. If you want to toggle it off, basically close the pop-up, we're going to simply toggle it out. Okay, and for the style, we're going to say button style dot, again, bordered. Okay, and now we have basically our basic pop-up ready. Now let's go ahead and click on it right now, and you can see that we can basically see that view is sitting right on the top of it, and we can close it, but it's not like looking that great. So let's go ahead and basically have some background and stuff inside the pop-up. So what we're going to do is on the ZStack, we're going to add some padding first, then we're going to give it a background. And we're going to give it a background, basically a thick material. Okay, and then we're going to put it inside a rectangle with the corner radius. So rect corner radius, maybe 20 points. Let's try that. And as you can see, now we have a proper looking pop-up that actually animates into its place, and it is basically you can notice that it is basically showing up on the top of the other view. So that view is not basically displaying anything, and we can close it down, and we can actually show it again. Okay, now we can actually change the way our background is basically appearing. So basically right now it's taking over the default. Okay, so if I change this, you're gonna notice that it actually takes over the dark theme, and it shows according to the dark theme. Okay, now if you don't want to use the thick material or anything, you can use some sort of color as well. So you can say, like, I want to show it in a gray color background. Okay, and you can show it in the gray color background, although I actually like maybe a thin material better. So let's try that. Okay, that's better. All right, so this is how you can create. Basically, you can use simple ZStack to create a pop-up screen. Okay, now another use case for ZStack is to have a fast action button, a fab control that'll basically display it on the view. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at an example for that as well. So we're going to create a private var example 3 some view, and then we're going to call this third view. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to save some typing and actually going to create a list of all the courses, although this is not the newest list, but these are some of the available courses on devtechie.com. There are much more, so you should definitely check it out. So I'm going to paste an array of all the courses that are there on devtechie.com, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically put a ZStack here. So first, let's start with the navigation stack. Okay, and this navigation stack is going to have a ZStack. And this ZStack is going to have an alignment. This alignment is going to be bottom trailing. Okay, now inside this ZStack, what we're going to do is we're going to display all these courses in a list. DT courses, each can be ID'd by self. We get the access to each course, and then we actually draw a view to display the detail of the course. Right now, we're just going to show the course name. Okay, let's go ahead and set the font as title. So we have a little bit larger. Okay, that's too big. So let's see title 3. All right, that's much better. And what we're going to do is we are going to basically have some sort of navigation title. So title navigation title. Okay, devtechie, if I can spell it, devtechie.com. Okay, so now we have basically this nice title, which actually, as you scroll up, it goes in the nav bar, and you can basically interact with this list. Okay, so now you need a fast action button. The fast action button can go right inside the ZStack, and basically it can go right here in the form of a regular button. Okay, now this button is going to have some sort of action. We're simply going to say we're just going to print a message, button pressed or something. Okay, you can leave it empty as well if you don't have any action. And we're going to have a label. Label is basically going to be an image with system name, and this is going to be plus.circle dot fill. We're going to make this resizable. Okay, and let's give it a frame with width and height as 30 as width and 50 as the height. Okay, so actually let's give it 50-50 because it's not looking that nice. Okay, there we go. We have a squared image, and like it's showing up nicely. And then on the button, we're gonna add some padding in the trailing direction. Okay, and also let's add the padding in the bottom as well. So we can actually create an array. So trailing and bottom, those two are basically going to be where we're going to add some padding, and we're going to add 10 points of padding. Okay, so now we have like basically this padding showing up here. And if you notice, we can actually move this, we can interact with the list, we can interact with the button, and this is how we can basically create a fast action button using the ZStack. Okay, so as you can see now, like we actually have built a couple of examples to sort of like see how useful the ZStack is. Now this is not it. With the acquired knowledge of ZStack, let's construct another complex user interface, and basically this time we are going to create a dice roll view. Okay, so let's go ahead and create another example. Private var example 4. Okay, some view, and let's go ahead and call this example 4 here. And you're gonna have to deal with some warnings, but they'll go away in a minute. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna create a dice first, and to create a dice, we are going to create a rounded rectangle, and rounded rectangle is gonna represent the dice. Now we're gonna have like a bunch of colors, so let's go ahead and create a an array of colors. I'm gonna copy and paste this code because I have this like color array created. All right, so these are basically all the system colors that are available for us in SwiftUI. So I'm going to use them, and for the example, for the body case, we're going to have like a ZStack, and let's go ahead and set the alignment here as well. So we're going to set the alignment as the center, so everything is going to appear in the center, and let's go ahead and convert this into a trailing closure. Okay, so all the errors should disappear now. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to create a rounded rectangle. So rounded rectangle with corner radius of 8 points. Okay, now let's go ahead and set its fill, and we're going to set this fill with a colors dot random element. Now random element should give us a random color, and basically we should get a color, and we're gonna basically apply a gradient to that. So not gauge style, but gradient. Okay, now if this color is not available, we're gonna fall back on color dot mint maybe, and we're gonna actually use this gradient. Okay, so we should see basically some sort of color here. Okay, and I think we are seeing cyan, but it should change as we are typing the example. So let's go ahead and give it a frame and width and height, and we're gonna have 100 by 100. Okay, so as you can see, our color is changing as the preview is refreshing. That means we are getting the we are getting the random colors. Okay, now let's go ahead and add some padding here. Padding is going to be for about 20 points. Okay, so we're going to have like some padding around the rounded rectangle. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to add dice dots. So let's in the dice we have 6 dots, and we're going to use a for each view to basically draw those 6 dots. Okay, so we're going to right underneath the rounded rectangle, we are going to have a for each view. Okay, this for each view is going to display 0 to 6. Basically, it's going to iterate 6 times. All right, it's going to give us an index of the iteration, and we're going to use that to draw another rounded rectangle with the corner radius of 5 points. Okay, and the fill color for this guy is going to be white color. Okay, and frame with width and height is going to be 25 and 25. Okay, now we should get a single dice here. Okay, so what's happening right now is all these dices, we only see one. The reason is because all of them are stacked on the top of each other. Excuse me. So what we need to do is we need to actually separate them out. As these dots are stacked on the top of each other, they appear as a single dot. We can resolve this by applying the alignment for each of the dot using the alignment guide modifier, which we have covered in another video. Now, before applying the alignment, we need to establish the position for each dot, considering their both vertical and horizontal alignments. Now, applying them will position the dots accordingly in the designated places. Now, for instance, if we apply the alignment guide as top for the vertical alignment and leading for the horizontal alignment, all the dots will adjust their position based on these values. Okay, so let's go ahead and try this out. Okay, so let's go ahead and try this out. What we're going to do is let's go ahead and reduce this as 20 points. Okay, that's perfect. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to first add some padding. Okay, padding about 10 points. Okay, so we have gap between those dice values, and then we're going to set the alignment guide. Alignment guide, we're going to take the vertical alignment. Okay, and we're going to reach out to its center. And for the computed value, what we're going to do is we're going to say take the dimension and set its top dimension or the top value. Okay, so what we're doing is we are applying the alignment on the from the center and altering the top value for the alignment. Next we're going to do is we're going to apply the alignment. Okay, and this is going to be the horizontal alignment, and we're going to apply it start value the center, and the dimension that we're going to alter is going to be the leading. Okay, so it's going to put this dot on the left side. Now, utilizing this basically gives us understanding of how alignment positioning actually works. And then once we have these positionings, what we're going to do is we're going to create two arrays, one for vertical alignment and another one for horizontal alignment, to store these respective positions for each dot. Okay, now I'm not gonna type this up here, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to paste it and quickly walk you through what those combinations are. Okay, so we have basically vertical alignment. We have center, top, top. So basically, if you take first value center and second value as center, our dot will appear in the center. If you have top and leading, so let's go ahead and apply top and leading. So top and leading, you can see basically it's appearing here, and then we have basically applied for all these. So we have this array created. Excuse me. Now what we're going to do is, based on the index of where the item should appear or the dice should appear, we're going to actually set those values here, and that's actually going to distribute all these dots along the correct sides. Okay, so we're going to reach out to the dimension. Okay, and inside the dimension, what we're going to say is take the dimension not statically defined, but reach out to the vertical alignment for the dice. For the given index, take the fifth value. Okay, so now we have basically these dice is distributed. Okay, and they're taking these three positions. Now we are only setting the vertical. Now we need to move some of the dice on this side, on the other side. That we can do using the horizontal alignment. So we're going to say reach out to the horizontal alignment for the dice. For the given index, right, take fifth value, 5, represent 5. 5 is basically if it's starting 0 to 6, 5 is basically your your 6, right? So 0 is your 1 in the dice, and 6 is like, comes as 5. So we're going to change this in a minute, but we need we need to create some put some gap in between them. So let's see, I think padding of 20 should make them look better. Okay, so now let's go back and read this. For the index of 0, okay, which is the first one, all right, we're gonna take the 5th value, so 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so it's taking the top, all right, and it's applying that, and then it's applying the leading, this leading on the other individual dot. Okay, so that's how it's basically distributing the alignment for 5th value. Now we can change this to 3, and 3rd is basically 3 represents 4 dots on the dice. Okay, so as you can see, this number is basically the value of the dice. Okay, so 3 is basically 2 is 3, and let's see, I'll show you the 0, which is 1. Okay, so it's basically the index is starting at 0. All right, so now with this functional logic in place, all we need to do is we need to create a variable to hold the dice value and randomize that value. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is we're going to create a state property. Okay, and this is going to be for dice value, and we're going to create another state property which is going to be to animate, and we're going to set it to false initially. Okay, now once we have the dice value represented, what we're going to do is we're going to, instead of typing it here, we're going to simply have the dice value used here, because this is the value that we're going to randomize. Okay, and then once we have this dice value set, we're going to apply a rotation effect. Okay, so rotation effect is going to basically rotate the dice in the degrees, and the degrees is basically going to be determined based on the animation state. So animate is true, then 0, otherwise 360. Okay, all right, next we're going to apply the animation to this guy, and the animation is going to be bouncy, and the value it's going to observe is going to be the dice value. The dice value, there we go. Okay, and on tap gesture on the dice itself, we want to basically roll the dice. So we want to update the dice value with int dot random in 0 to 5. Okay, so we want to get value 0 to 5, and we want to toggle the animation at the same time. Okay, now let's go ahead and roll the dice. So we're going to tap, okay, so we can see there is clearly an issue here that our individual dices are rolling, which means the modifiers that we have applied are at the wrong location. We should apply them on the ZStack. Let's try this out. Okay. Now, basically, now these cases where the dice is not changing, that means the random number that's being picked up is basically the same value that was before. Okay, but you can see after enough taps, you can actually see the dice rolling and the numbers basically appearing at random. Okay, so this is how you can basically create this custom dice rolling animation using ZStack. Okay, with that, we have reached the end of this video, and hope you learned a lot about ZStack. Once again, check out devtechie.com, and I'll see you guys in another video. Thank you.